I open my eyes. The smell of antiseptic floods my nose. The white fluorescent light on the ceiling is blinding. My head is pounding, and my ribs. Something feels wrong. Where am I? A woman I don't know. Her eyes swollen from crying is sitting by my bed. When she sees me stir, she doesn't rush to hug me. She freezes, just staring at me, her lips trembling. Then a long, deep sigh escapes her, a sigh of immense relief. "Thank God," she whispers, fresh tears welling up. But these aren't tears of grief. "Finally, you've forgotten me." I'm completely bewildered. Forgotten? Forgotten who you are? What are you talking about? Who am I? The woman looks at me and I swear I see something strange in her eyes, a smile of both pity and envy. And you've been in an accident," she says, her voice still trembling. "You have reverse amnesia. In a world where everyone knows their exact future because it's already their past amnesia, doesn't mean you forget what has happened. It means you have forgotten the entire script of what is supposed to happen. It means you have forgotten your destiny." Anne was sent home, to a luxurious, cold villa he had no memory of. The woman Leanne was his wife. She cared for him, but with a strange detachment, like a nurse tending to an unfamiliar patient. She was gentle, but her kindness felt rehearsed. That evening, as she prepared their meal, she announced, "For dinner, I will make pansered salmon." "How did you know I like that?" Anne asked, grasping for some kind of connection, a shared memory. Lean paused, her gaze shifting away, a habit Anne was beginning to notice. "I didn't," she replied, her voice completely flat. "How could I? It's simply that I knew you were supposed to say you liked that. That distance was more terrifying than hatred. It was an invisible wall, built from a certainty he could no longer share, and it wasn't just her. Everyone around, they were strange. They moved and spoke with a calm, precise certainty, accurate to the second. Not a single wasted gesture, not one wasted word. They never stumbled. They never misspoke. They were never surprised by anything. They were perfect biological machines, simply completing a pre-written destiny. Only Anne was lost. He was the only error in this perfect, predictable world. He tried to go back to work. He was, apparently, a successful architect. But when he arrived at the office, he found himself sitting in front of a perfect, finished blueprint for a magnificent skyscraper. His job, he learned, was to undo it. His colleagues would hand him these detailed, final drawings, and he would meticulously erase them, working backward, reducing them to crude concepts and initial sketches. His hands did the work mechanically, like a sleepwalker moving through a dream. But his mind was a complete blank. Didn't understand why he was doing this. Why was creation a process of deconstruction? It made no sense. The real terror, however, began to creep in during the quiet moments. The moments between the pre-written lines. He didn't know what would happen next. He didn't know what he would eat for dinner tomorrow or where he would go this weekend. He didn't know what his wife's smile tomorrow would mean. When she looked at him and said, "I love you," was it a real feeling emerging from her heart in that moment? Or was she just reading a line she knew she was destined to say at that exact time, in that exact place? How could he ever know? And then he realized a horrifying truth. He was the only person in this world with free will. Everyone else around him, they weren't truly living. They were performing. They knew exactly where they would stumble tomorrow, who they would meet, and what line they would say. Their entire life was a movie being played on repeat, a script they were powerless to change. They had no choice. But Anne, he had forgotten his script. He was an actor lost on stage, with no idea what his next line was. A profound, suffocating panic overwhelmed him. He tried desperately to remember. He tore through the house, frantically looking at old photos which, in his world, were photos of his future events, trying to find a clue about what he was supposed to do. But they were just soulless images. A man him smiling with strangers he'd never met. A child he didn't recognize. They meant nothing to him. They were scenes from a movie he had no memory of being in. One afternoon, wandering through a park, desperate and lost, he saw something happen. A young child, running with joy, tripped and started to fall, his face heading straight for the sharp edge of a stone path. Without thinking, purely on instinct, Anne lunged forward. He caught the child just before his head hit the ground. The child was safe, unharmed. Anne breathed a huge sigh of relief. But when he looked up, the child's mother wasn't running over to thank him. She stood frozen, her face completely pale. She looked at him, not with gratitude, but with absolute horror. "What did you do?" she shrieked, her voice cracking with terror. "What did you do? He was supposed to fall there. Was only supposed to scrape his knee. You did it wrong. Ruined the script." And let go of the child and stumbled backwards, staring at his own hands. And he realized he wasn't just free. He was a danger. He was a variable that could disrupt the entire predetermined order of the universe. The freedom we crave in his world was the most terrifying curse imaginable. He was the only one who had to choose. And every single one of his choices could be a catastrophic mistake, a tear in the fabric of reality. He fled the park, running back to his cold, empty mansion. He locked himself in his room. He looked out the window, where the raindrops were flying backward from the puddles up to the sky. A perfect, precise symphony of reverse time that he no longer belonged to. He had no idea what tomorrow would bring. He didn't know what he would do or who he would be. He was completely, utterly alone. And for the first time in his life, he felt an emotion no one else in his world could possibly understand. An emotion that can only exist in the shadow of uncertainty. It wasn't fear, it was hope. The man who forgot the future masterfully inverts our most common assumptions about free will and determinism. We always imagine that knowing the future is a gift, the ultimate power. But this story reveals the terrifying opposite. Knowing the future is, in itself, a prison. When everything is preordained, life ceases to be living. It becomes performing a soulless execution of a script you did and write and can't change. The people in Anne's world aren't alive.
Oh.
They are biological automatons, ticking off moments they already know by heart. The protagonist, Anne, through his accident, is unintentionally liberated from these shackles of destiny. In a world of perfect machines, he has become the only true human. His confusion, his anxiety, and his capacity to make mistakes are precisely the things that define him as human. His newfound freedom is both a gift and a curse. It's a gift because he can choose, can feel genuine surprise, genuine love, genuine fear. But it's a curse because his choices can be wrong. He can break the perfect, fragile order of his world. The most telling detail in the entire story is his wife, Lena's envious smile at the very beginning. It's a subtle clue that she, and perhaps everyone else, secretly longs to forget their own script. They are trapped in their perfect lives, yearning for the beautiful, chaotic mess of the unknown that it now possesses. So, what's the lesson here? The value of life isn't found in knowing the destination. It's found in the journey itself, in the uncertainty, in the unexpected turns, and in the profound power of our right to choose. This story is a powerful reminder not to fear an unknown future. It is precisely because we do not know what tomorrow holds that we have the motivation to hope, to strive, to love, and to live completely. Our choices might lead to mistakes, they might lead to pain, but they are also the only thing that gives meaning to our existence. Thank you so much for watching. If this story made you think, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content that explores the deeper questions of our world. We'll see you in the next one.